All right, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is, I'll name this segment later, GTG, Spits That Grease, etc., etc., etc. Title in progress. In any case, hopefully you guys are doing well and whatnot. SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. You guys know this. Anyway, I thought if the title hasn't actually given me away already, I thought I could go ahead and pick your guys' brain a little bit on the relationship between DSP and Kino Casino. So, did Kino Casino really change people's perspective on Darksydephil, or in actuality, did they make things worse? Now, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the title, but you get the gist of it. So, how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like Kino Casino was actually a net positive for DSP, or did they just put him further and further and further into the negative? Here we go. So, I think that Kino Casino, I think any interview with any content creator that has any buzz or any traction, doesn't matter what platform they're on, whatever it is. For DSP, it's going to be short-term gains, to be honest with you. There'll never be anything in the long term, no matter how much he tries to feed into it, no matter how far he tries to push it. He's never going to work hard, but because he thinks that his infamy will be the driving force. And in a lot of ways, you've seen him try to use his infamy and Kino Casino's buzz to try to profit off detractors, if not try to demand detractors to give money so they can have certain things going, which he was foolish to do that. He should have just let it continue to go, because that's the only segment people really care about when it comes to Smart Guys 2.0 is the Grill Phil segment. Everything else is, I care. That's why I record them. But other than that, most people don't care. They just want to hear the grilling segment and they move on. I think that for Kino Casino, I think it was an investment that didn't pay off for them, to be honest with you. I don't think that they're getting nearly as much out of it as they want, unless they are bringing people in like Steven that they do want around them on a regular basis. Have him use DSP as what class? A stepping stone, congratulations. As a stepping stone to build him up to continue to further their show and their motives moving forward, or try to get DSP to go at other people in the sector and whatnot, which DSP is not going to do because he's a coward, to be honest with you. Review Tech USA, he was invested and he had protection from Kino Casino, so he felt safe. He wasn't going to go at Ralph because he wasn't strong enough to do that. He's not going to go at Nick Fuentes because he don't know shit about him and he don't want no parts or problems with that. He's not going to go at Tim Pool. He's not going to go at any of the guys in there that are regular Kino Casino targets. And even from the reaction shit, look at DSP's own reaction content. It's garbage. So he's not going to really be able to add anything onto that anyway. Truth be told, Kino Casino has been running at a net negative just having DSP around. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's how I feel. DSP himself, yet again, has some short-term gains. You could say that, or you could make the argument, he's been trying to better himself, updating his equipment, stuff like that. But truth be told, they're bells and whistles for a grown-ass man who still looks at himself as a kid. Everything that DSP has purchased is not to further his campaign or to better his business or even to better himself. It's him playing catch-up. Quite literally. It's just him playing catch-up. It's all those things that other streamers had. Sorry, I didn't mean to repeat that twice, but all the gadgets and gizmos and bright lights and shit that everybody else had that he shitted on, he always wanted. He always wanted it. He just didn't have a means to get to it. Now he has it. Now he feels like he's part of the cool kids club, basically. And that's a really pathetic and immature mentality to have. Oh, I don't have what you have, so I don't really care about it, so I'm going to shit on you and that. And then whenever I do get it, oh, well, look at me, guys. I have the same thing now, right? I'm cool with you guys. Fuck all that. That's not how people really function. You know what I'm saying? But when you're a dent, the king of dents, to be honest with you, that's his mentality. Yet again, going back to an answer is an answer. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if it's a lie or not. An answer is an answer. And theoretically, that was his response. Oh, other big streamers and content creators have this. Oh, well, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, YouTube is still going to process it either which way. In his head, he wishes he had that, but he didn't. So he has to stand on the side. He can't sit there and big up somebody for what they have because that makes him look bad, right? It's going to make him seem like he's less of a person. Going back to that situation on Twitter with that guy with the arcade cabinets. He could have just bigged up that guy just like everybody else in the FGC did. Instead, he had to shit on it, try to do it in a sly sort of way. DSP's not cunning, so that's why it didn't pop off. And the guy turned around, put Super Turbo on the shit, and he's like, hey, here's Super Turbo for you, Phil. You can go ahead and relive your past glory as fourth place, with your fourth place finish at EVO 2005. You know, it's ready for you whenever you want, whenever you're ready for it, buddy. And it just turned around and it turned into a joke. He can't show an ounce of humility. He can't respect anybody and what they have and what they do because he's not in their lane. Then when he gets into their lane, by hook or by crook, people don't care. And so when you look at Kino Casino, even with him copying their begging, copying their mannerisms, trying to motivate people to do certain things and how he conducts himself, I think it's been for the worst. Because all of the worst tendencies of DSP, Darksydephil, Phil Burnell, Dark Geppetto, and I don't know if PPP or Triple P as I like to call him, did this by design, but they exasperated the very terrible traits that he has that DSP quote unquote was trying to hide. They brought it out and made it worse. And they made him comfortable with it. That's the thing. They made him comfortable with it. So now the time of, oh yeah, yes Sir Moist, yes Mr. Moist Critical, you're right, I beg too much. He's past that now. I mean, granted, he was lying back then too, but he's past that now. He doesn't care about that shit. At the end of the day, whatever it takes to get the almighty dollar by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? By hook or by crook, by snort or by whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it's going to be. So if you want to say, oh, well, they may have upped his confidence, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they did that. But truth be told, I think DSP is in a worse position now, this very minute that you're listening to this, which is probably about a week off from the time I'm recording, and I'm recording in bulk. I even have older stuff that I still haven't put out yet for this. So, you know, if you still hear like a bit of a snare or buzzing, you understand why, but we're working it out. But truth be told, he's in a worse position now than he was before Kino Casino walked into his life in August of 2024. To be just to be perfectly honest with you. And when Kino Casino is done with him, however long that is, whenever that happens, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about then. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be right back in the kiddie pool in his own piss and shit. And he's going to be stuck. And he's going to have all these shitty ass habits that he won't be able to capitalize on because there's nobody there to put the battery in his back to keep him going on it. And by then, most of the audience is going to be gone. You see that now. Even with Kino Casino trying to prop his ass up back in September of 2024, when they went on vacation for that month plus. He held on to he held on to that influx for like 2 weeks, and they were gone. All that money, gone. You know what I'm saying? He made a lot of money while he was with Kino, but he couldn't hold on to it. And that's the point. That's the thing I try to drive home to all of you. Don't take it just for what I say in this video, but just in life in general. Whatever success or whatever gains that you have or you are able to acquire in life, getting it is one thing, keeping it is another. And DSP is the definition of someone who had a lot of opportunities, had a lot of chances, may or may not, depending on your definition of success, had it, but he couldn't keep it. And that's what really matters when it's all said and done. What you did or what you were able to obtain is one thing, but how long were you able to keep it for? Were you able to build upon it? No, because DSP don't think like that. DSP looks at whatever the platform, the pinnacle, whatever the stage is for success. Once he's there, praise him for it. He doesn't have a plan after that. He can't see past his own snout. He can't see past his own hoof. And because of that lack of long-term thinking is the reason why I think Kino Casino has only hurt him even further. Because you can tell with PPP and Andy, whatever they're doing, they're setting up for something else later on down the line. And DSP hasn't picked up on that because he don't have the social intellect to do so. Not anymore anyway. His brain's going to mush. You know what I'm saying? Even with how PPP is setting DSP's ass up. And I've told you this. I firmly believe that's what this is. It's a long con. You know what I'm saying? This is a work. A massive fucking work. And DSP don't even see it. He think he do. He thinks that, okay, they're going to stab me in the back. But he doesn't realize that he's already been stabbed in the back. He's been stabbed in the chest. He's got it in the rib cage and everything. He's slowly bleeding out and he don't see it. He's become a puppet, a marionette, whatever you want to call him, and he dances to another man's tune. And because he's so scared, because he's so desperate, because he's got nothing else, you know what I'm saying? He has no choice but to go with it. Even if he could fight back, he already knows what's waiting for him on the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very nihilistic way of looking at it, but it's true. It's very true. The moment PPP got his hands on DSP, he already had long-term plans for it. And you're seeing that. That's why I try to tell you guys that the whole thing with smart guys, it's not about the money for PPP. It was never about the money. It really isn't. He'll take the shekels and whatnot, you know, that goes ahead and gets him more Canadian bacon and whatever else, you know what I'm saying, to get him through. But it doesn't mean anything, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He could spend some of that money over here at Temp Snortons, or, you know what I'm saying, or SnortBucks if you want. But it doesn't, it's a small, those are short-term gains for him. The long-term plans for DSP, or at least what he had in store for him, was far greater and would have been far more lucrative. And then, what I try to tell you guys at the end of 2024, leading into this year, 2025, if you guys follow me on stream, you know what I'm talking about. This is content farming, ladies and gentlemen. This is the year of farming content. And that's what you're going to see. And every community is doing it. Every community is doing it. Look over there in the commentator community / political community or whatever. First it was Destiny. Then Hassan gets pulled into that. Then Ethan Klein gets pulled into that shit. Now, who else is being dragged into that now? Oh, now they're going after Frogan and fucking Denim and shit. Lauren Southern's gonna eventually get pulled into that shit. By the time that shit's all said and done, all of them are gonna end up getting exposed on some bullshit that most of us already knew about, and they're just gonna expand upon it. And people like Nicholas Diorio, big ups to Nicholas Diorio and that new Rolex, by the way. He's just gonna sit there. The commentator community, those guys are just gonna eat off of it. Nicholas is streaming more than I've ever seen him stream in at least the last few years, and his numbers are continuing to grow. His super chats and everything are working out well. He gets it, even though he was part of the controversy in the beginning, and still is. Don't get it twisted. He's making his way off of it. He's building up off of it. You know what I'm saying? Augie's getting his piece too. All of that shit. Truth be told, Flamenco, for, you know what I'm saying, for whatever that piece of trash is going through, he needs to get back in here and start getting this shit too. You know what I'm saying? He should be farming Ethan for everything he's worth while Ethan's still around. You know what I mean? But then again, he don't want to contest with Kino Casino. So I get that. But that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the year of content farming. And you know what I'm saying, there's a bunch of targets and shit. You know, this year I plan to give you some review tech, some review tech, low-cal live, LTG. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of everything, because there's a lot to do. There's a lot to go over, and there's a lot of fuck-ups, you know, this early into 2025. You know what I mean? So whoever it is who's doing top 10 for next year, they got there's a lot to pull from. You know what I mean? The Kino Casino saga hasn't ended yet. The situation with Steven and the Truth Seekers and whatnot, I'm super behind, but Darksydephil has been, like, you know, basically put out the edict to DSP, basically, you know, fuck around and find out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta pop out and show ninjas. And he's standing on business and shit, and that's expanding into a whole other thing into itself and whatnot. It's getting wild. You know what I'm saying? On top of all the other shit that's floating around the DSP detractor community. And DSP should be, as it pertains to the negatives that are going on in the DSP detractor community, DSP should be taking advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? And PPP will definitely do it, but he needs DSP to take the initiative. And yet again, another problem. PPP and Andy have initiative. DSP don't. He has to be spoon-fed everything. It has to be laid out comfortably to where he either profits or he can walk away clean, which he'll never walk away clean, but you know what I mean? He'll walk away unscathed. No more bruised or injured than he already is walking in. And that's just not how that's going to work. If you want to play this game, you're going to have to bleed a little bit. And you would think with the quote-unquote confidence boost that, you know, Kino Casino has given DSP, you would think he would understand that, but he don't. He still wants to play it safe. He wants to keep everything close to the chest because he's a born loser and he knows it. And as the years go on, he realizes it's never going to change. Fucking A. This nonsense with this whole, not revolution, but renaissance, you know, this revitalization of his image or whatever, no one cares. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? Just fucking assholes like myself. No one cares. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything. And it's starting to sink in. It's starting to sink in that he's like, you know what, really no one gives a shit about me. Because he had sat there and tied himself to Kino Casino and whatnot. He ain't profited off of their community. He ain't eaten good off of their community, but he can't get that wider appeal. He can't get that wider. He can't branch out. And see, this is where goes back to the initial topic. I'm going on a tangent, but you know, let me work. Please let me work. If you look at the Craig interview, not side scrollers, the Craig interview, that was DSP's chance to make amends and try to move forward, or whatever, and he couldn't do it. His ego was still hurt, his feelings were still hurt, and he wanted to rub his quote unquote revitalization, his newfound relevancy, which didn't exist, by the way, but he wanted to rub that in Craig's face. He wanted Craig to see, I'm the man now. I'm the one with the high cards and whatnot. I think DSP still wanted to get in business with side scrollers, but he wanted to rub it in Craig's face first. He wanted to get his get back. You know what I'm saying? Like the gouty viper he is. And PPP will tell you, PPP will talk to an enemy in a minute. He'll work with people that he had beef with from multiple years ago in a minute if it's for profit, if it can further his ambitions. DSP can't do that. Pure and simple, DSP can't do that. He doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have the business acumen. He doesn't have the social intelligence and whatnot. In business, you're going to work around people you don't like. You're going to work with people you don't like. You don't have to like them. You don't have to care about them. You don't have to do any of that shit. Business is business. You know what I'm saying? Get money and keep it moving. And that's the problem with DSP. He wants to run around saying, I didn't want to get that bag. I didn't want to go ahead and go for that bag. Then bitch, what the fuck are you doing with your life then? What are you doing? You're on a platform where you get humiliated and talked down to and compared to other people on a daily basis. If you're not trying, you're dying. You know what I'm saying? If you're not trying, you're dying. And he's okay with that. He's been okay with that. And you can tell PPP has tried to motivate him in some way. And it just don't work. So now, PPP is going to use people like Steve. Not use people, Steve, but you know what I'm saying? He's going to put people like Steve in position. And he's going to have, DSP's going to be the stepping stone, just like I always told you he was. I've told any of you. I've told all of you. You know what I'm saying? Any upcoming detractor, DSP is a stepping stone. And feel free to branch off when you're ready to do so. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, unless you're really going to get deep into this shit. You're going to get really deep into the vortex. Other than that, DSP is a stepping stone. He always has been. He always will be. He was a stepping stone in the FGC. He was a stepping stone for other content creators that made fun of him on YouTube and Twitch, respectfully. He's a stepping stone. I mean, shit, bruh. I wouldn't even say that he's the foundation of any detractor, because it's not really true. Because as a detractor, you need to build your own foundation, your own base and shit. You know what I'm saying? DSP is part of the construction, certainly. But please believe he's never going to be the keystone of anybody's house. If not, then you've already made mistakes and you just haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean? And yet again, expanding out and laughing at other people is always a thing, because DSP is always going to be here. But if you choose to go ahead and focus on him in particular, make your next move your best move. You know what I'm saying? And this is coming from somebody who has made a lot of mistakes. And I would prefer that everybody who comes after me doesn't make the mistakes that I made. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really means to be part of a community. If not, then you're just out for yourself. And sooner than later, that's going to come out. You can't hide who you really are. It only takes a matter of time for that shit to happen. And I think with the Kino Casino situation and DSP, it's the same thing. So, to give you my long-winded answer, now let's go ahead and finish this up. No, I think Kino Casino was not a benefit to DSP whatsoever. DSP detractors, trolls, haters, and critics are getting good off of it, though. But I think he wasn't net positive whatsoever. Sooner than later, I'll make a video talking about the influences of the Steve or the Truth Seekers interview. And I'll also do another video comparing the side scroller interview to the Truth Seeker interview, because there's a lot of merit either which way. And in truth, DSP is in a worse position than he's ever been. And sneak preview, if you will. But coming off of the whole Darksydephil situation, I don't have all of that. I haven't watched the 2 streams that he did. He had a decompression stream, then he had a follow-up stream. Now I'm hearing something about a phone call and whatnot. I don't have all the details on all that yet. I need to get to it. But the vibe I'm getting off of just what little I'm hearing is 2025 is going to probably be the year where some of these long-term lines DSP has had, bankruptcy, the 341 call, because I definitely want to go back and listen to it and look at it again. That whole situation. Some of these other claims that he's had in the past and whatnot, I think people are going to start looking. You know what I'm saying? And going after the identity theft thing, I think that's going to eventually lead to people wanting to track down that tax guy from Connecticut, which I'm pretty confident is a family friend of the Burnells. And I wouldn't be surprised if people track him down if they haven't already. I'm pretty confident someone had a beat on him not too long ago, and ask him some simple questions like, hey, you know, you did taxes for this guy and his family for a very long time. What do you remember of Phil Burnell and whatnot, this, that, and the third? And truth be told, when he made the move, did you advise him that maybe he should get somebody else on that side of the country where he was moving to, or did you say that you were more than capable in doing so? Eventually, people are going to go back and track down these things and try to pick at these things. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? You're going to need some expertise. People are going to need to branch out. You're going to have to make acquaintances. You're going to have to talk to people. But I think it's something that can really happen. And yet again, it's just another opportunity to chip at the lie, the ego of Darksydephil, Phil Burnell, DSP, Dark Geppetto. And once that happens is when you guys are going to see real results. For those of you who, you know, for the last couple of years are like, we want receipts, we want results. This is kind of the time to do it. It's just the approach needs to be changed. It needs to evolve. You know what I'm saying? Something to think about. I don't want to give everything away because I talk too much as it is. In any case, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. This is I'll name that segment later. GTG spits that grease. Work in progress. And I'll catch you guys for the next one. Thanks again. Later, people.